Fear comes from being worried about yourself, but courage comes from being worried about others. What's going on, guys? This is Philip Sessions, your communication coach, here to help you with all things communication, whether it be meetings, presentations, or speaking in front of audiences. So, today we are going to talk about how to get over stage fright. Stage fright is something that we all feel at one point in time in our speaking career, whether we speak in front of a room of 4 people or 400 people or 4,000 people, we will experience stage fright in a sense. And it's not always that stage when we think of public speaking where we're at a big conference and we're speaking in front of a lot of people. It comes down to just being on that stage of speaking, and it's not a literal stage all the time. But when we think of stage fright, that's what we think of, that literal stage. But it can happen for us anywhere that we're in front of an individual person. So, how do we really overcome stage fright? And I want to ask you the question first of what did you do to get over that stage fright if you ever did? Because we all have been there where we've been forced to give a presentation. So, think about that first and foremost. What did you do in that moment? And I bet you can think about that. And it'll probably be that you just stepped into the moment, you just took charge of it, and you stopped worrying about yourself. And I would say that is the best thing that you could do, is to stop worrying about yourself. But fear ultimately comes from how you feel. Are you afraid of what people are going to think about you? Are you afraid that you're going to say the wrong things? You're really just thinking about yourself. And that is ultimately where that fright comes from. And when you go to step in front of an audience to speak, again, whether it's in a boardroom, whether it's in on a stage, whether it's just in front of a audience where you're in a larger room or a larger setting, or even on a YouTube video or a Facebook Live or anything like that, where you are in front of people. And when you're thinking about yourself, that's where that fright comes in. And we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it myself when I first get on a stage to go speak, where I'm thinking and I'm getting nervous and I'm getting worried about, am I going to trip when I get up there, and things of that nature. And it's natural for us to have a little bit of that stage fright. It's natural for us to think about ourselves and make sure that we don't embarrass ourselves, to make sure that we are safe and secure. But I promise, unless if you are speaking about religion in certain countries that don't allow that certain religion you speak on, most likely you are going to be okay at the end of it. Not going to say it's 100% because some crazy things do happen. But if you are speaking on a subject, most likely, especially here in the United States, you are not going to get hurt badly or worse than that when it comes to speaking about a particular message that you are speaking on. So you are safe. So you need to not worry and be frightened of that stage. But you're not here for me to talk to you more about the fear and all of that. You are here to learn about how to overcome that stage fright. So I'll give you two things, and one I really want to focus on more because I've talked about this other one a little bit before, but it's knowing what you're going to talk about. I know it's not new, but knowing what you're talking about is so important. And too many people think, oh, I'll just get up there and wing it. Well, that's where that fear comes in, because you realize, oh, crap, I'm not prepared for this. Or, oh, crap, I forgot the things that I thought about right before I got up here to talk about. And now you have this extra fear because you didn't know what you were going to talk about. So you have to know what it is that you're going to talk about. So it's kind of a given. But number two is the one I really want us to focus on today, which is being passionate about what you're talking about, which really goes into having courage because you are focused on your audience. If you are passionate about that subject that you're talking about, if you are knowledgeable about what you're going to talk about and share that passion, you're not going to have the fear. Yes, you still will have some fear when you first get up, but if you let passion rise up to the occasion, you will get rid of that fear almost immediately, because that passion will consume you and that passion will come out to your audience as well, which will make your audience really intrigued, really engaged. And I'm sure you've seen speakers like this before. One I can think of is Eric Thomas, and how he talks about as long as you want to breathe, or as long as you keep pushing as much as you want to breathe, you will get where you want to go. And I completely butchered that, but that's a very famous quote that he talks about. But he basically takes this kid out, or it's taught. The way it's framed is this kid wants to go to a mentor, and this mentor says, okay, let's meet at the beach. And they keep going out further and further into the ocean. And eventually the mentor pushes him down in the water. And essentially he's drowning. He's suffocating because he can't get up. The mentor keeps just pushing him down, and he's fighting and fighting and fighting. And finally he lets him up. And he says, until you want to succeed just as badly as you wanted to breathe right then, you will never succeed. And it's the same thing with our passion. If we are passionate enough, that passion will leak out into the audience, and the audience will be able to see that, and that fear will subside. You will not worry about anything else. Just like you want to breathe whenever you can't breathe, and you're doing everything, you're fighting tooth and nail, you're clawing your way out, you're trying everything you can to be able to breathe. You're going to be doing that same thing when that passion comes out, because you are just trying to pour that passion out more and more and more until that fear completely goes away. So you want to make sure that you let that passion come out. Find out what you are passionate about, which is a really important thing. We're not going to get into that today, but having that passion behind your message and speaking on something you're passionate about is so important. You can't think you're going to be a great speaker simply because you just speak on whatever subject. You're not going to reach an audience doing that. You're going to continue to have the fear of public speaking doing that. So you have to live in your passion. You have to speak with passion. You have to share a message that you are passionate about. And that is how you overcome that stage fright. That is how you overcome that fear of public speaking, by living in your passion. So if you have stage fright and it's not your very first speech, you're going to have it no matter if you're passionate or not, especially that very first speech. But if you are maybe a little seasoned, you have been doing several speeches and you still have stage fright, you're probably not speaking from your passion. But what if you have to present on a topic for work and it's something that isn't your passion? How do you create that passion behind that? Well, you may not have passion for the subject, but you will have passion to be able to share that information, or should have passion for that, because that means if you can share that information, if you can communicate that information properly, you get to move further ahead in your project. You get to close out a project. You get to get people's buy-in from you. Whatever that looks like, that end goal that you have within that presentation, within that speech, you need to be passionate about that, because that will also help you. If you want to have a way forward for everybody, if you want to share this information so everybody knows what's going on and knows the next steps within your company, you have to have the passion around that. You don't have to have the passion around the subject necessarily, although it's a great thing if you can have that passion. It helps even more with getting past that stage fright and getting past that fear of speaking in front of that audience. But if you have a passion for what this information can do to help move the company forward, or move the meeting forward, or move the project forward, whatever it's moving forward, that's another way to have that passion as well. So I have the passion for the content, or passion for the results of the content that you're sharing. And that is the way that you can get over that fear of public speaking. And of course, the first one being that you just need to know what you're talking about and where you're trying to go with that subject, but have passion, again, for the subject or for the outcome of the subject that you are speaking about. And that is how you get over that fear of public speaking. And if you need help, please reach out. I'd be happy to help you in any way with your communication needs. Go out there and have a healthy, blessed day. And make sure that you like and subscribe to the podcast and our YouTube channel. But go out there and communicate more effectively.